At face value, Guida, he's a basketball guy. He's a basketball guy, and that's fine. You can have that opinion of me. And if you really know me, I'm a kid guy. And that means if we have 1,850 students at Buffalo High School, I'm all about 1,850 students and figuring out what we can do to help your educational journey, to make it easier for you to want to come to school every day, because you have school, those relationships at school with your peers, your teachers, and there's this other thing going on that I also love to be a part of that helps me get up every day and get going. And if it's basketball, that's great. If it's one act, let's do it. If it's music, let's do it. If it's the spring play, let's do it. We're going to get good adults to be in your life, and we're going to give you every resource that we have to make that a great experience for you, because I know that when you are at school, you will be a better student and be a better, you'll bring that positive energy to our school, and we need it every day.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reese and Mark Benzer.
Hey everybody, it is the Buffalo Community Podcast for episode 97. We are creeping up on that 100 mark. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Guida, Nick Guida, Administrator Guida, with us here in studio. Thanks for coming in. G.
I don't know about the legend part, Tyler, but that's all right.
The man, the myth. Then
there you go.
You're not legendary yet. Yet. So, well, gosh, where do we start? So let's go back.
I would just like to preface that I am, when you guys came out with this, I thought it was amazing, because I'm so proud of you guys as community members and BHS grads that I was like, I hope I get to be in the top 100 of their first podcast. Awesome. And so here we are.
Touchdown bingo.
Yeah. And that was episode 97 of the Buffalo Community Podcast.
Can't thank you enough for coming in.
Well, thank you for the kind words. We really appreciate that. Yeah. I know for myself, when I was in high school, you were one of the more influential teachers. You always remember, people remember the ones that made an impact on them. And I'll tell a story later on exactly what that impact was. Okay. But yeah, let's go back to school. Where did you grow up? Where'd you go to school? What brought you to Buffalo?
I'll always say I'm from a small town south of Moorhead, because I'm pretty proud of that. It would be like Montrose or Hanover to Buffalo, Sabin to Moorhead. So, Tyler, when you were going off to college, you drove past the Sabin exit sign many times. And so I'm from Sabin, Minnesota, 500 people growing up, had some great high school age friends that we all hung out and participated in activities, and we became school aged, and the junior high school, it was called at the time, they shipped us off to Moorhead, and I was a spud, and then I became a cobber like yourself, and
spud to stud,
spud cobber. So
I didn't. I was a dragon.
Oh, I thought you went to Concordia. Why did I think that?
I don't know, because I spent more time over on NDSU's and Concordia's campuses.
I knew you were up there somewhere.
So I'm more like a baby dragon.
Clay County. Clay County.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a baby dragon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
And then I, went to Concordia College, got an education degree. I actually went into college considering going into broadcasting, and then I realized that this wasn't going to get me where I needed to go. And what I did realize was I really enjoyed working with kids, and then so. In college, my path changed to an educational slant and got a degree in health and physical education and a coaching certificate, and got luckily hired at Montrose Elementary. In the fall of '97, I started at Montrose Elementary, and so I was down there and coaching at the high school a ton, and when a position opened at the high school, as hard as it was to leave those kids at Montrose Elementary, because you just, you fall in love with those little stinkers. I remember vividly telling them that I'll see you again someday. And sure enough, as time goes through, you see all of them come through the high school, which was pretty neat to be a part of. And then 25 years later, here we sit. And so there's a lot of stuff that has packed into that journey of the last 25 years. So
it wasn't just you that Buffalo kind of brought down 94. There's a good number of you guys that made the trek down here. Is it more than coincidence that that happened? I mean, we can name some names, right? I mean,
well, I think for instance, I mean, Matt Lubin, the middle school principal, him and I played basketball against each other since 6th grade. So we were the same age, and you know, in the 90, both 90.
Well, just keep going. Yeah. Just keep going. Yeah.
90, we're both 91 grads. We played all through high school together. So, yeah, that connection. Jason Sorensen. I don't know if anybody can hear me, but Jason Sorensen and I went to college, J&J Athletics, give a plug out to them. Went to college together, and Jason was actually the one that called me. He had gotten hired as a physical education teacher at the middle school. And I don't know if you guys might have been close.
Yep, he was our backup primetime.
Yeah,
teacher.
not to date either of you.
Yeah, it's my backup primetime teacher.
Yeah, always good to have a good backup.
Yeah.
But Jason called me and let me know about the Montrose Elementary job, and so I threw my name in the hat there. And so Jason came down from Concordia College, and but a lot of people. And I think it's a networking thing. You know, once you start connecting the dots.
No different than anything else.
Right. Yeah. So I feel pretty lucky that here we are, and you know, I guess my plan was to be in education, but I don't know if a lot of people are that lucky just to get so dug into a community that here we are. We're here. We're Bison.
Yeah.
So
you coach. I wanted to talk a little bit about the 2007
for sure. Yeah,
Buffalo High School boys basketball team. You and the team.
We together.
B1 Bison before it was B1 Bison. Brought the first team state championship, big school, state title to Buffalo. Yeah. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And congratulations.
For sure.
Walk us through that experience, because seeing it on TV and just seeing your hometown. We're up in Moorhead, and everybody. I mean, we had 40 people in the house. Yeah. It was awesome seeing it on TV. Sure. Walk us through that experience.
Yeah, even start at the beginning of the year too.
Yeah,
what goals were, what visions were at the beginning of the year, and how they maybe changed as the year progressed.
For sure, yeah, and I think it started in 2003 when Tom Bauman hired me, and we put our staff together, and that year we had a wide range of kids playing, and we had some young kids playing and ended up playing as the season progressed. And, the Josh Ortmans of the world, the Carl Olsons of the world, the Darren Olmscheids of the world, I mean, they were little kids playing varsity basketball. Their jerseys were falling off their shoulders. I think we had to tie them in back to keep their jerseys
Who's got a scrunchie?
Right, scrunchie. And so we during that time, I mean, we took our lumps. I mean, there's little kids playing against what would be college-bound athletes, and so that progression every year, we got a little bit better. And going into that 06-07 campaign, we knew that we had a talented group of kids, and and in that senior class, but we also had really good kids coming behind. And so what I would say to you, and this was true and will ring true for lots of teams that I was a part of, is we always had that next generation of kid waiting to, like, I'm going to come out and I want to take your job, Josh Ortman.
Awesome.
Yep. I want to play in front of you. And so practice really every day was unbelievable. I mean, the level of competition every day in practice was amazing, and you could see our team getting better and because of what was happening every single day in practice. And then we, try to play a competitive schedule. And, I mean, it grew into something really special. And we hit our stride mid-season, and you're just like, wow, this could be a good run for us. And our section was really tough. So just getting through the section was a challenge in itself. And, I've referenced some of these names of kids that we've had come through the program, and when I'm with those kids, we never talk about the wins, or the losses. We talk about all the other stuff. And, you guys get together and your days, and you talk about all the goofy things that happen that coach didn't know about. And it's like, right? No, what are you talking about? You go to these kids' weddings, and they're like, oh, we probably should tell you about right. Probably should tell you about that now.
We're at a couple of those weddings together.
What we told you.
That did happen. So, but there's a lot of those stories that end up happening, and the kids really are pretty well grounded in who they are, and it's fun to have those conversations and that depth of relationship with the kid. And I think that's the point, isn't it? Is to get to that point where you can dig into somebody's heart a little bit and figure out what makes them tick, and then take that particular kid and put that kid with this kid, and now how do they tick together, and how do we build a team of 18 to 20 kids and all have the same mission. So it's pretty cool.
And I think I jumped on the bandwagon right around section semifinal, up at St. Cloud, and then I was like, well, that was fun, and then it's like first round of the state tournament, and forgive me for being skeptical, but it's we'll go to the state tournament, and it's maybe we won the game.
The lights are really big.
Go to Williams Arena and you take care of business against one of the Minneapolis schools. St. Paul. And then I was like, well, that was cool. Buffalo got to win a state tournament game. That's awesome.
It's cute.
And then you go to the next.
Cute.
That was cute. And then it just win, and then it's like, well, might as well. Let's just win. Win the tournament.
Mark, I think that's the lessons throughout the whole season, that you saw this team become more and more focused on the goal, that destination that they wanted to achieve. And so as a coaching staff, we had shared lots of stories about personal experience going through what that looks and feels like when you are starting to get down to crunch time, and our kids really didn't flinch. I mean, there was timeouts in games where we were down by 9 with 3-4 minutes left, and you sat down and you go, oh, these guys are all about business right now, and it's whatever. Let's next possession, and we'll go out and win this possession and get a stop, and then have another possession, and all of a sudden we win by 6, and I'm just like, these guys are. Why did you mess around the whole game then?
Holy crap! It worked.
We're not going to do that anymore.
Talk about the Buffalo community. I think we made a pretty big impression on the state.
And I would agree. And taking 28 buses of students down to the tournament.
28.
That was a logistical nightmare for all of those in charge of doing that, which was not my deal. I was just concerned about one bus getting down there. But then also just the feeling in the community, and that's a great point, Mark, is to think about that feeling that we had as a community, and today, where are we at today? And I brought you guys a window decal, and with the B1 Bison, and if you haven't heard this message or this theme, and Tyler, know where your cameras are at, please.
I have so many of them.
Right, true. But that feeling of community is so powerful, and I think we really felt that in that 07, and you looked around, everywhere you turned, it was about kids, which is super cool and it's powerful, and I jumping forward into looking at this position and visiting with Mr. Mischke and deciding that this was the best fit for me, saying that's the mission right there. The last 5 years, 10 years, has been difficult for lots of reasons for lots of people. We all have something going on, and you name it. And one thing that I want to help do with our coaches and our advisors, our directors, is bring our community back to be around kids. COVID aside, let's get rid of it. Let's do what we have to do to get through it. And here's our kids. And who can ever argue that?
Right.
It's so powerful watching kids grow in their schooling, and as an activities, being a part of that is special.
Yeah.
Well, you got Coach Ortman now.
Yeah.
They're having a solid season.
Very good season. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they now? It's 12-0, 12-1.
No, they were. That's the start, and then we got into a tough time with a couple key injuries, and so that, which is they're always, you never want to see a kid get hurt, but it's also an opportunity for your team to grow differently. And if you remember that 06-07 team, Darren Olmscheid played his last fall league game a week before the season started and broke his foot, which
Darren,
coach was not very happy about that phone call we got because we had a plan for the season. Well, what that did was it allowed us to have a different look on a rotation and what, gives another kid an opportunity to step up. And we utilized that throughout the course of the season. And interestingly enough, in the state tournament, Josh Ortman goes down in that semifinal game with a sprained ankle, and his foot is as big as a watermelon. The kids didn't flinch. I've started before. I've done this before. I've played big minutes before. The kid, they just rolled right through it, and that's when I write my book someday. There's going to be a whole big chapter on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
wearing the AD shoes now.
Yeah.
Obviously basketball is always going to be a passion, and it's always going to be, but you can't play favorites, right, anymore.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned about kids in general, other sports in general, what the challenges, I'm sure a lot of coaches share the same challenges in a different sport, but I guess how have you been able to adapt to that? Like, basketball is no longer my baby. I got a whole athletic and activities department to take care of.
Yeah, and I appreciate you making sure that we do say it's activities. There's a whole bunch of good things happening with kids. And just to go back, Mark, to the beginning part of your question, at face value, Guida, he's a basketball guy. He's a basketball guy. And that's fine. You can have that opinion of me. And if you really know me, I'm a kid guy. And that means if we have 1,850 students at Buffalo High School, I'm all about 1,850 students and figuring out what we can do to help your educational journey, to make it easier for you to want to come to school every day, because you have school, those relationships at school with your peers, your teachers, and there's this other thing going on that I also love to be a part of that helps me get up every day and get going. And if it's basketball, that's great. If it's one act, let's do it. If it's music, let's do it. If it's the spring play, let's do it. We're going to get good adults to be in your life, and we're going to give you every resource that we have to make that a great experience for you, because I know that when you are at school, you will be a better student and be a better, you'll bring that positive energy to our school, and we need it every day.
You mentioned something earlier, is there's students walking the halls that we don't know about.
Right.
Some pretty awesome things that they've done. You said national champion dog trainer walking the halls. K9, yeah. The official term.
K9.
I wasn't a science major.
Well, you were Googling something a minute ago.
K9. That's how you spell it? Yeah. But, so all those things that you get to see all these kids in a different light of, that they don't make the sports section.
Right.
That, everything, that's their passion, and they're killing it, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I'm working on a couple things that I want to help celebrate that, Tyler. And because that kid walks by hundreds of kids every day, and we might not even know all the amazing things that kid is doing on the outside of school to help grow a community or to be a part of a community and to try to push their comfort zone and to do things that are amazing. And it's like you said, it's not all being written in the newspapers all the time, but let's figure out how we can celebrate all kids, to say, hey, you mean there's an opportunity for me to train dogs? I love dogs. You know what I mean? How can we connect that kid to that kid?
Yeah.
And it's pretty powerful stuff. There's so many cool things. I said it earlier, kids are cool. They are so cool. And you don't have to be the starting quarterback or the first chair in the orchestra to be cool. There's a lot of different versions of cool. So I want to help try to celebrate that through our school community and try to make an impact that way.
Don't have to be the starting long snapper.
Yeah, but right. I remember those days you got to keep your head up because,
right.
Tough stuff.
Yeah.
Were you the long snapper?
Were you
the starting one?
Yeah. 2 years.
I wasn't
2 years.
I wasn't cool enough.
Yeah.
You could spin it. You could spin it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share a story. You were a gym teacher and
physical education teacher.
Sorry,
Yep.
this physical
the gym is where we taught.
Yeah,
physical
that's true.
Education,
And then I'm going to ask your opinion on pacers.
Okay,
What the hell?
Yeah. Pacers, I mean, you're not really built for pacers.
There's only one time
Tyrese.
pacers were beneficial for
Yeah.
me as weigh-in day when I needed like 2 pounds to be cut.
Right.
Karn, can we do some pacers today? We really need it. And,
Yeah.
And
anyway.
everybody else was like, Tyler.
Then we have the Zach Mellons of the world that
Yeah.
you could never end. Just like,
Yeah.
Zach, it's
Bell.
2 hours, the bell rang an hour ago.
Yeah.
You have English now.
Right? You're-
Yeah.
We're sitting there, and you go, hey, Reese, you got 2 gator skin balls in your hand.
Oh, boy.
And we're playing. He goes, see Welter over there? And you toss it way up. And Welter took the bait. Amazingly.
Like Jeremy Wood.
Yes, for sure.
gonna
He's sitting there.
catch
He's going to catch it. And you do this huge windmill, just whoosh. It was a curve ball, and it just whoosh. Both balls got there at the same time. You took Jeremy out. That's why I learned. I'm like, one, you're not going to totally tear your rotator cuff
Right,
here.
yeah.
Is you need to learn how to throw a ball, underhand from now
Yeah.
on. So I do that with my kids now.
Yes. Snowball trick.
Snowball, boom.
Yeah.
This is what I learned in high school.
Right.
G told me to do
Jeez.
that.
I don't condone that behavior. I don't know that that's a true story or not.
Those are your young days.
Yeah, I was young.
Yeah.
Well, I did play a lot of fast pitch softball growing up, so
Yeah.
that's where I had that technique from. But
Yeah.
I would only do that to kids that could handle it.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
I knew that I was faster on foot than Jeremy was.
Yeah.
So. Because if he got his hands on you, you were in trouble.
You were done, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, hanging out with a couple wrestlers, talking about Jeremy. You have a little bit of wrestling. You came to a point in your life where you had to make a decision wrestling basketball, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe some varsity experience even?
Well, to be honest, not that I haven't been honest all day with you guys. I love that. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
Minutes 3 through 7.
Right. Yeah. No, I think every kid should wrestle, boy, girl. I think it's an awesome sport, and because it challenges you in so many different ways. I mean, I know that my dad was a wrestler, high school wrestler, wrestled all the way through high school, and my brother wrestled through high school and into college, and then I wrestled from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade too, and dabbled in some basketball, and growing up in Sabin, you didn't have a lot of opportunity to, you'd have to go to town, to get to whatever activity you wanted to be a part of. But we did have wrestling because our elementary school physical education teacher was a wrestling coach. So he
was what a great recruit.
Right. Yeah. Right. He was awesome, and he taught me a lot. And so to get on with the story, you get into the junior high school and you have 4 seasons like we do now with, the start of it was football for me, and then it was wrestling, then basketball, then track and field. So at the end of the wrestling season, the coach wanted to move me up to the wrestle JV for the rest of the wrestling season.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, what now? I mean, that'd be cool
sure.
to be up with the big boys. And I decided that I would like to try to play basketball, and I was starting to stretch out a little bit, and I was pretty lean. So
At least it worked out.
Well,
I'd give you grief, but
Yeah.
basketball thing worked out.
And I'm super proud of having the experience in wrestling. I absolutely love going to watch our wrestlers compete, and I watch like my brother wrestle through his experience, and then he works at the state tournament now down on the floor, and and if you're a kid person and you want to try to go to state tournament events, they're so awesome, and wrestling is second to none, man. That whole
great tournament.
that facility is jam packed, and 8 mats going, and the roars, and all these different kids that are these, there's highly state ranked kids, and there's kids that are ranked highly nationally. It's very cool if you ever have a chance to get. Maybe you guys have been down there, but it's good stuff. Yeah.
What I love about those big tournaments like that, whether it's basketball, anything, hockey, anything, is when you see those small schools take up an entire section, and it is the Yellow Jackets up in Perham, anything that's yellow, or Dawson Boyd, whatever. They don't do much, but Litchfield Green, whatever.
Just pulling naps.
Dawson Boyd.
They don't do really much.
Ogilvy. Dilworth, Glendenfeld.
A
lot of
Fertile,
hyphens,
Minnesota. But
You're right, though,
just
Tyler.
seeing that,
Nurheg.
I think it's a huge deal for kids to be in activities no matter what, regardless. In with my own kids, is you're going to be in something.
You have to do something.
It is. I don't care what it is. But you have to do something, and you have to finish it.
Yeah,
You know,
start,
if
finish,
you don't like it the rest of that season, do something else the next time. And I think that when you have that positive experience in your life of like, it's bigger than you. Yeah. You know, you got your teammates there as well. But I think being in activities is one of the biggest things that can, you know, take you from here to here of something. Find something that you're passionate about, and it can definitely tell in your just the way you talk about it is that's a driver for you. Yeah. I mean, which I'm glad that you're behind that for our youth.
Well, and you know, I appreciate you saying that, and I need help. You know, I need good young parents to get their kids involved, and because it's not because we want great activities at the high school too, but we want a great community. You know, and so when you're getting your kids involved in activities, then now you guys are connecting in our community, and you're able to have those conversations. And then guess what? When kids grow up in activities, oftentimes they're hanging out with other like-minded kids, and now you have the same mission and the same goals and the same values that you can share, and in turn comes decision making. And we want our kids making good decisions, whether they're in our schools or if they're at Culver's or Target, and you know, when they put the B on, represent the B and what that means. So I want to switch subjects a little bit to a topic everybody loves to talk about. Yeah.
Curling.
Lake conference.
Oh, sorry, lake conference.
Yeah. Curling. Yeah. We got Team Schuster coming in next, so we went.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
wrap it up.
No. Okay.
No.
We're on the clock.
Everybody's got an opinion on lake conference.
For sure. Yeah.
Some might say we don't belong there. Some might say we can't compete there, and some might say, you know what? Let's play the best.
Right.
Let's be in and amongst the best, and let's do things differently here and compete in the lake conference. I don't know if either one of those people is wrong per se, you know, but I mean, we can compete, you know, basketball, baseball is doing it, you know. What are maybe some of your thoughts on the lake conference, and what do you hear? What do you get from the outside in terms of lake conference?
Yeah, so prior to myself, and just a little bit of background, prior to myself stepping into the activities role, worked very closely with Tom Bauman for 20 plus years. And so I was able to see behind the curtains as to what it was like to build a Mississippi 8 conference, and Tom was a big part of building that conference and being a part of that as a coach and watching that evolve. And we grew out of it. We really did. And what people, you know, hey, the Mississippi 8 was really good for lots of reasons. Well, when you have Buffalo High School, and I'm super proud of the fact that we can provide all these different levels and all these different activities, well, when half of your conference can't do that, and now we're playing half of a season because your opponents don't have the ability to have a B squad team, no fault of their own. It's just...
It is what it is.
It is what it is, and we grew out of it. And so... When we decided to leave, and when they decided to have us leave, which was a mutual decision, then you go out and you start looking. And so just for more background, we, you know, inquired about the Northwest Suburban, which would be a great fit for Buffalo, and proximity and school-wise and activities-wise, and all the things would line up for us. And that's a big conference. I think they have 14 or 16 teams, and it wasn't going to work. I mean, they just said we're not going to have an odd number of teams, and it's just what it was. And so the Minnesota High School League steps in and says, well, here you go, St. Michael and Buffalo, you guys are now going to be in the Lake Conference, and okay, let's do this. And for me, I'm all about let's do this. And all of our coaches that I have visited with up to this point in our season, our head coaches have said, let's do this. Our kids love it. You can feel the bar being raised in our programs. And I have seen it personally. I mean, you know, my wife and I, Michelle, went down to Edina last night. Boys and girls beat Edina 48-40 on their floor. And we have hung around a lot of teams in girls basketball. We have 2 girls playing, and just watching it, just like we're not as far as people think away from being there. Yeah. Wrestling finished 3rd in the conference this year out of 17.
Look out, St. Michael.
Yeah,
we're coming for you.
Coming, STMA.
Like that.
You know, and it's like everywhere you look, it's just like, hey, we're taking the next step. And here's the deal: we have kids, we have facilities. The Lake Conference loves Buffalo because when they come out here, the way they're treated, the facilities we have. We're not perfect. Don't get me wrong, but
I always get a kick out of like, we had to go to Buffalo,
right? Way out there,
like. You're 45 minutes
Right.
away.
Yeah.
Like, you could take me 45 minutes to get across Monticello some days.
Correct. Yes.
You know?
Yeah. North to south.
That's great. It takes a long time to right that ship too, especially when you're, if you're the little dog coming in.
Right.
I mean, your competition is gonna raise you.
Yeah, we
too.
have gaps, you know, and I think that's where some of the frustration can come in because, okay, so let's take a look at like a fall sport, maybe like boys soccer, girls soccer, when we have our senior class and then our junior class, and when you're playing Wayzata, primarily their seniors and juniors are going to dominate the team, right? I mean, these are kids that could be college-bound kids, and we have some of those too. And now we supplement with sophomores and freshmen to round that out to make our best team we possibly can, which hangs in oftentimes with the conference. And what's hard is our lower level teams now. We have a couple kids missing from our 9th grade team in our 10th grade RB squad team that some of those holes make it hard because guess what? All of their 10th graders are playing 10th grade soccer.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And so then you see some of the disparities, and that's hard. That's hard to navigate. And as a coach, you have to we need to schedule some wins in there for the kids. You know what I mean? And I learned that a long time ago when I was first getting into coaching basketball. I was like, we're going to play all the best teams in Minnesota, and we're going to, you know, make sure you schedule some wins for your kids.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting going back to that. A lot of people do have certain opinions on the conference, and as of right now, we're in the Lake Conference, and every day when I get up, it doesn't change my mission. It doesn't change my mission to try to impact kids and try to get them to be their best version of themselves. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Good question. Because it's out there. I mean, I just got an email the other day and said, this is where we're at.
Right.
Drive on.
And I think one of the conceptions, too, is that the Lake Conference doesn't want us. And I've heard from you, and I've also heard from the AD at Minnetonka, who I sat next to at a wedding.
Yeah.
Glowing things to say about Buffalo.
They really enjoy us. And I, you know, and the conferences, these are really good people, and they have challenges just like Buffalo High School does. And I go to our meeting every month. I just talked to their Edina's AD this morning about some JV gymnastics, and he's just a good dude. I mean, he's a great guy, and they're trying to do good work for kids on their end, and they have their own challenges too. And I go to those meetings, and they make me feel like I'm $1 million just how they, you know, and I think that's the relationship, isn't it? Is when somebody sees something new that they make you feel good about, that's when you're like, hey, you start leaning in.
Right. I'm just surprised Edina has problems. I didn't know that Edina had problems.
I could tell you some
I thought that was the $1 million.
No, and it's not Edina. It's,
no, I know.
It's Dilworth, Glendenfeld.
Right. It's Dawson Boyd.
It's Monaga. We all got stuff, you know. But that's the thing is let's figure out how to get through it together, you know. And same here in Buffalo. We got stuff going on that we're going to navigate every day. And I was talking to Mr. Mischke this morning about our mission at the high school and you know, how can you go wrong with this? The two things that we concentrate on every day, have every kid have an adult they feel safe that they can go talk to if they had a problem, every kid. And then the other thing is every kid feel supported by another kid in school. And then if you can get to that, if you can get to 100%, and I'm not saying our numbers are off the charts comparatively to the country, and we have work to do. You know what I mean? Because every kid deserves somebody that they can go to that's an adult, and every kid deserves to feel like they're supported by their classmates.
And kids are going to have to, you're going to have to reach those kids who aren't going to reach out.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, because they just walk right by you.
Yeah.
And I get right in their grill. Hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
I'd prefer to talk to somebody else.
Right? They be walking on there, talking on their phone, and I'll just step right up. Hey, can't text and drive. Careful.
Right. Yeah.
When I look at it as I'm growing older and more wise, you know, I thought, you know, why can't Buffalo, you know, win some titles? You know, every time we'd go to a school, not to bring back that of the most important things is, we're champs here, champs there, champs there. I look at it and I find that way less important.
Yeah.
And there are so many options for kids these days, which could hold back from, you know, hey, you're awesomely skilled at this other thing, but you really love that thing. Yeah. Okay, well, do the thing you love.
For sure.
So I see that and I'm like, no, if those kids are happy and they're excelling at what they want to do and getting that opportunity, I think that's awesome, and I believe that's what Buffalo is.
And Tyler, that's a great point because if you look at inside-out coaching, okay, it's the framework Minnesota State High School League uses for coaches. Why do I coach? Why do I coach the way I coach? What's it like to be coached by me? And how do you determine what success looks like?
Yeah.
And so as I get older too, and I love, people want to talk about state championship. It's awesome. I would rather talk about how Darren Olmscheid is as a dad. Yeah. Jake Dusky as a dad and a community member, because that's what I'm that's how I determine when I go to a wedding and I'm like, that's Sam Ortman. I mean, I'm so proud of that kid that I don't even, the accolades and all those things that the kids go through in high school. That's a part of the journey, but it's not the goal for me. Right. And you brought up the 06-07 team. There was seasons where we won 7-8 games, and people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" Yeah. Well, you guys lost by 10 last night, and just like I'm like, "Yeah, the kids were awesome. They played so hard." Yeah. I just saw the seniors walking down the hallway today with the sophomores, and they were having a good time and taking care of each other. And the older kids were giving the younger kids a ride to pregame. And oh, by the way, our team is a 3.79 GPA, and we're going to be academic section champions again. And what do you determine as success?
But how are you?
Yeah, how are you doing? I'm doing awesome.
I'm great.
I love kids. You know what I mean? Yeah. And don't and I want to win. And that's part of the deal. And it's like you get to decide how you want to determine success, because I'm sitting right here with two successful community members who are here doing it right now. And if you go back and you think about the relationship we had, me and you guys in high school, and to tell you what you're doing now, back then you'd be like, yeah, right. Whatever. No.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's how I determine success, and it's never ends. It just keeps on rolling. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming in.
Is it halftime?
Halftime.
Yeah. We need to fill the water, wipe up the sweat off the ground.
Get a shower, get hydrated, get right back in here.
Yeah. As we wind down here, is there one final thing that you want to tell Buffalo, all 250,000 of our viewers?
Right. No, I would say, and even Buffalo, let's talk about BHM, and that's what I never want to. Yeah. I don't want to call
totally
you out, Tyler, but
this is
that's who we are. There's 35,000 BHM residents, and it's an open invite. The facilities that you've given us to work in are second to none, and we hear that from the Lake Conference. Everybody that comes to our facilities is like, wow, this place is awesome. And I want our community, our BHM community, to know and understand the amount of care and compassion that we put into those facilities every single day with our kids. And I get a little emotional because I'm so passionate about seeing kids grow up to be impactful and help providing a safe environment for them to grow up and come and be a part of this, because we can make a difference, and we can grab our community and all the differences and COVID aside, and let's celebrate kids and come to the arena and come to the Performing Arts Center, come to the gym and be a part of it, because it's awesome. It's cool.
The physical education.
Oh
wait, no, shoot. Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah. The gymnasium. Yeah. No, it's cool.
Awesome. For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reese.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And I'm Nick Guida. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Guida.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlin Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.